Good afternoon and welcome to the Body Shop. My name's Jason.
And I'm Jeffrey.
And we're here today to bring you a show about bodybuilding, health, fitness, having fun at the gym, and in particular, our show today is going to be designed to teach you how to work out your quadriceps and your gluteus maximus.
And a little bit on your hamstrings as well. We're going to go over 4 to 5 exercises that will concentrate on, as Jason said, the quadriceps, the hamstrings, and the gluteus maximus. So, if you bear with us, we'll take you on a ride of your life.
That's right. Now, we wanted to talk about a few things today. Being as this is a show about keeping yourself healthy, about getting stronger, about feeling good, we need to mention some very important things to you. First of all, it's essential that before any kind of workout that you do, whether it's vigorous or not, that you warm up. And by warming up, we're talking about 5 to 10 minutes of sort of light to medium aerobic activity. So you could jog in place, go for a brisk walk, run in place, or use any of the aerobic machines you'll find in a gym or at your home. Then on top of that, you also need to put in about 5 to 10 minutes of stretching, especially stretching the body part that you're going to work that day. So today we're going to show you some stretches for your legs. And then Jeffrey's got some words to say about being a novice weightlifter, an intermediate, or an advanced.
All right. With being a novice weightlifter or a beginner, you would want to choose about 2 exercises of what we're going to do today and do about 2 sets for each exercise, okay? And if you're an intermediate, we would recommend choosing 3 exercises with 3 sets for each exercise, and if you're an advanced, 4 exercises with 4 sets for each exercise.
Certainly, and you may have different goals. I'm sure that just about anybody watching the show will have different goals for themselves. Some people want to build muscle mass, some people want to tone up, some people want to gain some endurance, maybe because they're a swimmer or a bicyclist or a mountain climber. So really, you can use the gym to your advantage in many different ways.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
And so, as Jeffrey said, we'll be your tour guides today through a little bit of pain. I'd like to say, when you come to the gym, try and come in with a good attitude, just like you would with anything else in life. The more enthusiasm that you have, that will translate into more energy for your workout, and in a sense, that'll even get you in and out quicker. A lot of people seem to be upset because they spend so much time in a gym. If you come in with a positive attitude, you give a lot of energy to it, you can be out in 45 minutes to an hour with an excellent workout.
Oh, most definitely. And if you're like Jason and I, where we talk half the way through our workout,
you can be here for 6 or 7 hours.
Very easily, trust us.
So we're going to show you a few basic stretches. Jeffrey will narrate while I bend my body like a piece of spaghetti.
We're going to do the squat first.
Well, we're going to stretch and then we're going to show some squatting.
Okay,
so
there you go.
He doesn't know what's going on.
I just kind of...
Not to say that I do either, but... Okay, so here we go.
As we promised, Jason's going to show you a couple of stretching moves, and I'm going to narrate and show you what he's doing. We would recommend that if you're going to start stretching, you either start from your head and work your way down, or you work your way, start with your feet and work your way up, just so you don't miss anything. And again, when you the exercises that you're going to do for that day, really concentrate on stretching that part of your body. And then if you have time, stretch the rest of your body out as well. And Jason is going to go through some stretching moves, and he's going to, just for time saving, he's going to kind of go through them kind of fast. I'm not going to really explain what he's doing, but he's basically going to be concentrating on stretching out his legs, because that's what we're doing today. And he's stretching out his tongue because he gets that glick mouth, the swollen tongue from talking so much. So I took Jason's microphone off, and I told him I control today. But in any case, when you do stretch, you want to hold the stretch for 15 to 30 seconds at the least, okay? If you do anything less than 15 seconds, you're not going to be doing what you're supposed to be doing. And with stretching the muscle, you want to make sure that you feel a tightness in that muscle that you're stretching. And again, you want to hold it for 15 to 30 seconds, if not longer, but no less than that as well. And again, of course, before you start stretching, you want to warm up on some type of cardiovascular machine for 5 to 10 minutes as well. How do you feel? You're all stretched out and ready to go?
Oh yeah.
All right, and of course, this would not normally be Jason's stretching time, because he's already done it beforehand, because he's going to be doing some squats. And we're going to be starting off with our squat, which is the best exercise for creating mass on your quadricep and your glutes maximus, or your rear. And it also works your hamstrings too. So away we go, off in the wild blue yonder. Okay, here we are. Jason and I are over at the squat area in the gym, and we have a squat rack over to our side here, which the bar rests on, that you put the weight on as well. First thing,
good explanation.
Thank you very much. And if you didn't understand that,
you might as well just turn the TV off.
First things first. You should use a weight belt anytime you squat. We recommend that highly because it helps support your lower back.
And we know that doesn't sound good, but...
And it also helps to give your abdominal walls to push against, helps give your whole midriff a good support area, because you're going to be using a lot of weight and your back is going to be using this exercise to support the bar. So with that in mind, we don't need that anymore because Jason's not going to use it in his...
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, first things first. The squat, again, is the best exercise for creating mass in your thigh, your quadricep, your hamstring, and your glutes. And what you're going to first do when you get set up for it, pretending Jason has the bar on his shoulders, he's going to have the bar straight across here, and he's going to support the bar on his shoulders with his hands and his arms. Okay? He's going to get a shoulder width stance with his toes either pointing straight forward or with his toes pointing slightly out, just a little bit. With your toes pointed slightly out, you're going to put on more stress on your inner head of your quadricep. With your toes pointed slightly forward, you're going to put more stress on the outer head of your quadricep. So I alternate, when I do mine, I alternate in between my sets, straight and out.
I feel like a mannequin.
You are a mannequin.
Okay.
You're not supposed to speak.
Sorry.
And also, you have to wear tight spandex.
Right.
Anytime you do this exercise.
Jeffrey knits them at home in his spare time.
I do, and I have a lot of
He made these pair right here.
I did make those.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Tailored.
Yep.
You're welcome.
And as you notice, they fit very snugly.
They do fit snugly.
You're quite the seamster.
I did mine too, so there you go. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So
where was I?
You were describing the squat, and we
Right.
just made it to the point where I'm standing here with the bar on my shoulder.
Okay, very well. So with your toes either pointed slightly forward or slightly out, or straight forward, slightly out.
May I describe the next part?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm always interrupting,
Yeah.
but I have to talk.
Okay, talk.
What you want to do next is bend forward just slightly at the waist, arch your back, and one good way to make sure that your back stays arched throughout the exercise is to look up at the ceiling a little bit. Then what you want to do is the angle at which your body is to the floor, you maintain that angle the entire way through the lift. Mm-hmm. That way you ensure that you're not bending forward any farther and putting extra stress on your back and your knees.
Very important.
Yep, so you maintain the body angle, the angle of your torso to the floor the entire way through the lift, both down and up. Then essentially what you do is squat down low enough that your glutes break a parallel line with the floor.
Or the top of your quads.
Right.
So go ahead. So Jason's not going to go any lower than this. He's going to stop right there.
You stop for just a nanosecond.
Yeah.
And then you push yourself back up. And make sure that you don't thrust up so fast that you snap your knees into place.
Very important.
Yep. You want to come up very smoothly and stop just before your legs are fully extended.
Right. And also, when you do the traveling motion downwards, you want to make sure that your knees stay right above your feet. Okay, so that travel is straight up and straight down above your feet. You don't want your legs wobbling or knocking in.
Right, if your knees end up over your head, you've got a problem.
Big problem.
Big problem.
And you don't want your knees flaring out as well. So your knees should be very, in a very strict form, locked in. They shouldn't waver from side to side. That's very important as well.
Jeff, have you noticed that my jokes are getting lamer and lamer?
Yeah. Is there anything I can do to help you out with that?
I don't think so.
Really?
Just keep me quiet.
So is it safe to say that basically you are lame?
It's safe to say that. I won't argue today.
The wise man speaks.
I'm going to step over here and pick up the bar.
Okay. All right, so Jason's going to grab the bar, and he has 135 pounds on there. That's relatively light for
155.
Jason. 165?
55.
Oh, you got weights on the end there. Okay. Mm-hmm. So anyway, okay, Jason's going to step back. He's going to set his stance. He's going to pull his head up.
Please remember to always have a spotter when you're doing this.
Oh, yeah. And then he's going to lower the weight down under control and press back up. Now, when he presses up, he's going to press up with a lot of the weight on his heels, okay? He's not going to be coming forward with any weight on his toes, but he's going to have a balanced stance, and he's going to push up with his heels. You see how his back does not move forward or back through the whole range of motion? His back pretty much stays in the same area. Head is up. And right now, Jason's feet are pointed straight forward, so he's putting more stress on his outer quads. And then he racks the weight when he's done, and he stretches out. Another important fact is that in between your sets, you should either stretch that muscle that you just worked.
Yep, very important.
Or walk around, move around a little bit. You don't want to sit and become stagnant.
Keep your blood flowing through your muscles.
Right.
Keep yourself warm.
With stretching out between your sets, you allow the blood flow to increase through that body part, which, what's the word I'm trying to quickens your recuperation time for your next set. So, good idea.
Yeah, it's an excellent exercise to begin a workout with.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I always start first with my squat when I do legs because I'm fresh.
Yeah.
And I feel very powerful, and I can go pretty heavy with that. Well, if that's my choice.
A lot of the exercises we're going to show you today are done on machines, universal machines or Nautilus machines. And those have safety mechanisms, so if you're lifting and it's near the end of a workout and you find yourself exhausted, there's always a way to safely set the weight down. Right. But with a squat, if you're really exhausted, chances are you may begin to compensate by leaning your back into the exercise and distributing some of the weight onto it or something else. So with any exercise that really places a lot of weight on your body as a whole, your shoulders, your back, your knees, it's good to use those exercises to start with. Right. You're going to avoid hurting yourself as much as possible and still get a lot out of the exercise too. And
also we all recommend that if you've never done the squat before, to get a book or some magazine that describes how to do it. Maybe gives you some photos and how it should look.
A nice diagram.
And also, when you do start, use a very lightweight, very, very lightweight, because, again, if you're going to injure yourself doing any leg exercise, it's probably going to be the squat.
Now, the way that I like to practice at home is using little Lego figures to make sure that I have the form down well.
Yeah.
Jeffrey actually uses slightly larger size dolls.
I use the erector set myself. So. But also, you can use do the squat with dumbbells. So that's another variation.
Yeah, you just hold the dumbbells off to your side.
True.
Yep, and just squat right down and pull yourself back up.
Same form, same everything.
And it's a little bit less likely to put stress and strain on your back. Yeah. So for those of you who are concerned. Yeah. All right, and from here we're going to take you over to one of the machines that we just talked about.
Right, the angle leg press, so we'll do that next, and that can either be substituted for a squat. So.
Yep, or not substituted and done in conjunction with it.
Or not even done at all.
Right, you can just throw the machine out the window or give it to us, as a matter of fact.
Oh, I like that.
What are we talking about?
Oh, we're talking about the leg press.
Oh yeah, all right, well, we'll see you there. Jeffrey and I are over here at the incline leg press machine.
Incline?
Isn't it decline?
No, it's not. It's just angle.
Angle?
Yeah.
Okay. Jeffrey and I are here at the angled leg press machine. It's got a foot pad upon which you set your feet to press. It has a couple of safety pins that you can place into the side on the inside of the machine to stop it from crushing your legs or your torso if the weight turns out to be too heavy for you. And it's got two angles so that you can work both your quadriceps and your calves. But it won't be this show that we show you how to work out your calves. We'll save that for another time. So what Jeffrey is going to do here is very simple. You want to make sure that in between the different exercises you're doing, you make sure to keep yourself warmed up and stretched out. So let's say you did the squats first and you make your way over here. Hypothetically, if Jeffrey was the one doing it, he would have spent about 3 to 5 minutes keeping himself limber. Yeah. Comes over here and sits down. You've got a set of hand grips here on the side to help support yourself, and a headrest behind your head that you can kind of let your head sit snugly against. Anyway, you put your feet here, and what Jeffrey likes to do is keep his feet pointed pretty much straight forward, although sometimes he'll angle them a little bit out. Then he has his toes hanging over the edge of the foot pad just a little bit, maybe about 2 inches. Okay, he'll grip the pads on the side, release the safety bars, and push the weight out. What he's going to do is slowly bring the weight down to his chest. He's going to be inhaling at that time. When he gets down to a point where it starts to feel real tight, he pushes back up slowly, and he exhales at the same time. You want to make sure that you're breathing smoothly and continuously the entire time you're lifting. Now, after this point, I need to point out a few things. First of all, that's that you don't want to snap your legs back up. And we already mentioned that with the squat. Right. So what you want to do is, once again, Jeff, if you'll show them, you bring the weight down smoothly and slowly, control it, and then you push back up. Push back up very evenly. Distribute your energy and your motion so that you're able to stop it right before you snap your knees into place. You don't want to fully extend them. Now, Geoffrey's got good form on this, and one other thing we'd like to point out, if you'll bring it down one more time, Jeff, is that Geoffrey's knees do not wobble at all side to side. He brings the weight back in a very straight line and then pushes up. And this way he's going to make sure that he doesn't injure his knees by buckling them in a little bit and allowing the weight that's here to at all compromise the integrity of his knee. So, all in all, though we're presenting some safety tips to you, this is a fairly safe exercise.
Yeah.
What you want to do with any of these exercises that we're showing you, if you're a beginner, is to start with a very low weight like we have here. The pad itself only weighs 50 pounds. We have 90 pounds of weights on it. Start with a very low weight, get accustomed to it, develop some good form, and then begin to work your way into it slowly. And that's not to say that you shouldn't work out hard, it's just that you should work out intelligently. So,
Let me do a few reps here.
Yep, Geoffrey will just show you the good form. And what we're going to do with our helpful camera operator Nick is we're going to show you another angle so that you can see this from somewhere else. Right, here we are, the amateur purveyors of knowledge back at you.
Yeah.
We're showing you the angle from behind here as it is. Geoffrey once again is on the angled leg press, and there are a couple more things that I wanted to mention. One is that I said you wanted to bring this back in a straight line. Another way to state that is that what you want to do is make sure that the entire time that your legs are in motion, your knees remain firmly planted over your feet. So that's what I was talking about, not having your legs wobble or buckle at all. Second of all, when you're pushing up, try and distribute most of the weight onto your heels, just like Geoffrey mentioned I would be doing with the squats. Then on top of that, you'll notice, if Geoffrey angles his feet straight forward, what he's doing is working the outside of his leg a little bit more. If he angles his feet outward, he's going to be working the inside part of his quadricep a little bit more. So, if you feel like you want to be strengthening one part or another of your quadricep, just try and keep that in mind.
And again, I alternate in between each set.
Yep. So, a lot of these exercises are good, especially for people who enjoy bicycling. I have an acquaintance of mine, he's a chef in town, and he's an avid bicycle rider. He engages in all sorts of amateur competitions in the Northwest. And he comes up here a few times a week and gives himself some really, really intense leg workouts. And he said that in the last couple of months, since he's been back up here doing that again regularly, he's noticed that his endurance has grown when he's out bicycling, and he attributes it to the weightlifting. So, those of you who are a little skeptical about the benefits of weightlifting might want to keep something like that in mind. Here we've got Geoffrey on his 100th leg extension. I think we'll give my mouth a rest and his legs a rest.
Oh yeah, that feels great.
Okay, and from here we're going to take you to the hack squat machine, the machine that I myself am afraid of.
And we'll tell you why.
Yep. Ready? Ready. Geoffrey and I are here loaded with energy because this morning, lo and behold, we each had 3 donuts, 2 croissants, and a half a pot of coffee for breakfast. Yep.
Breakfast of champions.
That's us. Well,
Terrible.
with all of our energy, we're going to demonstrate, or rather I should say, Geoffrey is going to demonstrate the hack squat machine. So Geoffrey, you'll explain to them quickly what you're going to do.
Right. The hack squat machine is good for working the lower end of your quadriceps. And it also works your hamstrings as well, and also your glutes. But primarily, it's good for working your lower end of your quadriceps. And when I use this machine, the pad's up above my shoulders. It's kind of worn out. So what I do is I take an extra pad and I stick it under here to kind of buffer the weight a little bit, and that helps take the pressure off my shoulders. So in any case, I situate myself in the machine here, and I can make sure that my back stays against the pad the whole time, through the whole range of motion, and I get the same type of stance as I did on the angle leg press, either my toes pointing straight forward or with them pointing out just a little bit. And then the range of motion is basically the same.
You may notice with this exercise that Geoffrey's going to begin now, with the angled leg press we showed you before and with the squats, that essentially the movements are very much alike. Although the one difference is that each of them will focus on a different part of the quadricep just a little bit more than the others. So as Geoffrey was saying, this exercise itself is very good for working the lower part of the quadriceps. While he's demonstrating this here, you'll notice that he's breathing, well you might not notice, but I do. He's breathing steadily the entire time. And I wanted to point out that I did hurt myself using this machine once. That's because the weight that I had on here was too heavy, and I found myself straining on the way back up to the extent that I held my breath and tightened up all the muscles in my neck, trying to get the weight back up. When I did so, I sustained a permanent injury to my neck. So what I want to suggest to you is that with this lift and with any other that you're doing, don't use a weight that's too heavy for yourself. Listen to your body, you know? It's better to have good form and use a lower weight than it is to compromise your form so that you can use a heavy weight and end up hurting yourself permanently. So pay attention to your body, please.
You can also do calves on this machine as well.
Yep.
But that's another show altogether.
Yep. So as a matter of fact, both of the machines then we've showed you so far, you can work out your calves on.
Right.
So from here we're going to take you over to the Nautilus machine and show you the leg extensions. Nautilus equipment is usually in just about any gym that you'll find of any caliber whatsoever. So it's a good way to isolate a muscle group.
Definitely.
Yep. So please follow us.
Away we go. Jason and I are over at the leg extension machine, and this machine is good for working your quadricep. It's good for creating definition. It's not so much of a great mass builder as it is a definition isolation machine. Again, you would want to maybe spend about 3 to 5 minutes stretching out in between what we did for our last exercise before getting to this one. Okay, Jason is going to be doing this machine sitting down. Pretty perceptive of me, isn't it?
If I can find a way to do this standing up,
Probably do it.
I'm doing something.
The way this exercise is performed, Jason gets a seat in the machine, puts his legs behind the pad here, and he can adjust that to whatever length he wants. And he's going to be extending his legs out in front of him, and when he gets to full extension, he's going to give his legs, his quadriceps, a nice tight squeeze, nice tight contraction as he does that, and then he's going to lower the weight down nice and slow and under control. When he lifts the weights up, he's going to be breathing out, and when he brings the weights down, he's going to be exhaling.
And you'll find one nice thing about all Nautilus equipment that I've encountered is that it comes with a set of instructions that are right here and easy to read, and it takes you through step by step. And the seat on this is adjustable so that you can rest comfortably against it, and what you want to do is position yourself so that the back of your knees are resting gently against the edge of the seat pad. Then from there are 2 handlebars here that you grip. And when your knees are extended to full extension, you'll find even here that the instructions tell you to release your hands from the hand grips, just let them rest against it for 1 second. And strangely enough, the way that the physics of this operate, by releasing the tension with your hands, it ends up distributing more weight to your quadriceps for a second, so you're not supporting your body at all with your hands. And in doing so, the exercise becomes harder, so it provides you with the opportunity to engage in a full contraction of the quadriceps. Then, as you're going to let the weight back down, you grip again with your hands on the handlebars and slowly bring the weight back down. Now with any machine that comes with a set of weights here on the side and a pin that helps you decide what weight you're going to be using, you want to make sure that as you bring the weight set back down, you don't quite touch the weights together. That way there's always some pressure on your legs and you're getting a much better workout that way. So then you do 5 to 8 of these, or maybe 10 to 12 of these, depending on the extent of your workout for the day.
And again, we haven't mentioned it before, but anytime I do, before I perform any exercise, I always do a warm-up set.
Yes,
okay? And what that means is I do a very light weight, and then I do about maybe 15 to 20 repetitions, just enough to get the muscle stretched out, pump a little blood into that muscle area, and then wait another minute, and then go ahead and hit my weight with the intention of doing my final workout. So a good warm-up set is always recommended before you even start your exercise.
Yep, so to sort of reiterate some of the major points we've told you today at this point, you want to make sure that you warm up before every workout that you do and that you're adequately stretched out, that you take about 1 to 2 minutes in between each set, and about 3 to 5 in between each exercise that you do.
And also doing a cool down is recommended as well.
Yep.
And what that is doing is after you work out, maybe do a 5 minutes on a treadmill, very leisurely walk, and then stretching out at the end to loosen those muscles up. And also the stretching helps to relieve any mild soreness you might have after your workout.
And you know, even if you're not working out some days, it's nice in the morning when you get up to spend 5 or 10 minutes stretching. Helps to keep the muscles limber and provides you with a little bit quicker recovery.
Oh yeah. And stretching also is what's the word I'm looking for? I have a lot.
We never know. That's okay. We forgot the pocket dictionary.
It's cumulative, basically.
Yes, it is.
And basically, the more you do it, the more limber you become.
Yeah.
So Jason and I are very limber, anyways. That's a genetic gift we have. But I also want to mention quickly that Jason, even though he doesn't work his legs very often, he is always going to be gifted with a great set of quadriceps that'll last him the rest of his life. And that's just genetics, and there's nothing we can do about that. But maybe it's because of your chondromalacia that you have, you know.
Chondromalacia.
Yeah. That's why he has good legs.
I have a knee condition, and I don't think that contributes to the shape of my legs in any way.
Well, you never know. Higher than you.
Okay, a little bit of wackiness is good for the soul.
What does that mean?
Now, Geoffrey and I are not allowed to dispense any kind of nutritional information on our own.
Right.
However, we do bring a special guest onto our program just about every time. Her name is Laura Impero-Fraumbach, and she is a registered dietitian who maintains both her own business and is employed here at the Watchman Family YMCA. And Geoffrey is kind enough to interview her once a week and get a particular nutritional or dietary tip from her.
Right. And this week we're going to be concentrating on water, hydration, what the importance of water does for our body, and why we should drink it during our exercise routines.
And not only do we have Laura here with us today, but we're going to add somebody new to our show today.
Right. Her name is Gwen, and she is works out at GNC.
Yep, General Nutrition Centers.
And she's going to give us some information on supplementation for our diets, whether that would be vitamins and minerals or some supplements that you might want to use if you're trying to gain mass in your workouts.
Yep. So essentially what we're trying to do here is sort of expand the scope of our show and sort of broaden the horizons of it.
We want to give you more information of something you might be interested in.
Things that Geoffrey and I are not either prepared or allowed to talk about particularly. So
we're not allowed to do anything, but we do it anyway. That's what keeps us young.
We're pirates on the air. So, we'd like to introduce to you now Laura Impero-Fraumbach.
We're here again. Of course, this is the Body Shop. And Laura, you have some very interesting news for us today about H2O.
Correct. We're going to talk about water today. We're going to talk about hydration and making sure that your body has enough fluid.
Right.
And I think one of the most important things is, we've talked about different nutrition tidbits and whatnot. And if you're talking about optimal health and well-being, water is one of the main constituents, and we need to give attention to that and not forget it. Go ahead. You
got my water here.
Other interesting facts is that the body is made up of, the adult human weight is made up of about 60% water. And when we're talking specifically of muscles, it's anywhere from 75 to 80% water.
Right.
So again, that kind of just refocuses on the fact that that's something that we really need. I wanted to talk first about the purposes of water, just to kind of give some major purposes as far as how it acts in our body. And if you look here at the whiteboard now, you can see I've jotted down 4 different purposes. The first one has to do with digestive enzymes and juices. It's kind of an interesting one, but it's one that if we take in enough fluid each day, it can manufacture what is needed for the digestive process. Also, the high water content in blood supplies a solution for nutrient transport and also waste transport. So taking the nutrients to where they're needed and taking the waste back to excrete them out of the body. Also, water is the primary constitute of various lubricants that the body produces for its joints and muscles. So to make sure that those joints and muscles are working adequately, we do need water. The fourth one on there talks about regulating body temperature, and that's probably the key one for a lot of people that are active, is that to make sure that we have a way to cool ourselves down. And of course, as the body sweats, that is its way of cooling. So you're losing fluid that way, and that is the normal process of cooling your body. If you don't sweat, you're not going to do that. And that's kind of like some of those different devices that have been used, like your sweatsuit that's made out of a more of a rubber, we call them rubber suits. And people use them to exercise in because they think that they're losing weight. And in fact, they are losing weight.
But it's not fat.
Correct. They're losing water only. And of course, as soon as they drink, and we're hoping that they drink, sometime after the exercise session, they're going to regain that. And this also can be very harmful, because if you get your body too dehydrated, then you're going to run into some other problems. Just some real simple guidelines. You're thinking about, you're active, and you're thinking about how much water to drink and that sort of thing. First of all, cold water is the best. So if you drink like refrigerator cold, that is the temperature that's best. When you take in any kind of fluid, what you want it to do is, once it gets into the gut, you want it to go out to the working muscles. So the longer it sits in the gut, the longer it's going to be before you're hydrated and your muscles are working properly. So it's been found that if it's refrigerator cold, then it empties your stomach the quickest.
It's assimilated into the body much quicker.
Correct.
Right.
Also, and everybody's heard this, but drink before you're thirsty.
Right.
Once you're thirsty, the dehydration process has already started. And so you need to think about drinking fluids, especially water, before you're thirsty. And when you're exercising, if you can handle it, and this, for some people it's a real personal preference, but to drink before you exercise, during the exercise session, and of course after.
Right. It's very
so all three would be the best. As far as making sure that you're well hydrated, the old standby of weighing yourself before and after an exercise session works very well. And for each pound that you lose when you weigh yourself prior and after, you should drink at least 2 cups of fluid per pound. So that's a really good guideline. And also another, to make sure that you're well hydrated, is if your urine is pale colored, so real light colored, that means that it's a pretty good indicator that you're well hydrated.
Right.
Okay, so those are some simple guidelines to follow.
But one other thing, how much should a person drink a day? How much water?
And that's a good question, and it varies. Everybody's heard the old standby of 8 to 10 glasses of water a day, and I think what the bottom line is that everybody is different.
True.
Okay, there's different sizes. There's going from a very large man to a very petite woman. Is 2 drastic examples. It's going to depend on how much muscle mass they have on them, because we know again that muscle is primarily made up of water.
Right.
It also is going to have to do with how active they are. If they're more active, they're going to need more. So it's really hard to give a general guideline unless you sit down specifically with somebody and work through with what they're doing and what your body composition is and that sort of thing. So it's better to kind of go with just drinking more than you think you should, because what I found is that most people are not getting enough. And then also do that urine check. That's real helpful.
Now for myself, I drink about 2 liters of water a day, just to keep myself hydrated, because I am eating a lot of protein, and that helps to assimilate that and to flush out the toxins and so forth. So when I'm bodybuilding, you need to drink a lot more water, I feel, than if you were just doing some type of cardiovascular workout.
And it goes back again to you when you're doing weightlifting or bodybuilding, you're building muscle. And so, yeah, you would drink more. Now, I just want to touch bases with the symptoms of dehydration. I think that this is real important, because a lot of times we get in a situation where we ourselves may get dehydrated, or somebody that we're around. And I think it's real important to just know some common signs and symptoms of dehydration. As you can see here, the dark urine, which of course is the complete opposite of what we want, would be one symptom. A small volume of urine. So if your output is very small or unusually less than what it has been, that would be cause for concern. Also, if you've been involved in an exercise bout, and especially what comes to mind if you were in some kind of competition, or if you were in some sort of endurance event, the red light should come on that you should be drinking extra. And also, some people experience elevated blood pressure, some active people, and also headaches. So those are just things to keep in mind, either for yourself personally, or for people that you know and that you're around or that you exercise with, because they may not know those particular signs or symptoms. And of course, the best thing is to get fluid in them. And I think the last thing that I want to say is, and it kind of leads into another talk that we're going to do in the future, but people talk about, what is the best fluid to drink? And for most people, the answer is going to be water. And especially for folks lifting weight, because it's not considered a true aerobic activity. You can definitely keep an elevated heart rate if you're doing some sort of circuit training or whatnot, but for the most part, it's not considered an endurance or an aerobic event. So again, for most people and active people, the best fluid is water, and not until you reach above about an hour and a half does it change, and we need some different things fueled into our body. Water can do the job.
Right. Great.
So it's exciting.
Yeah. Water. You have to drink it no matter what. Gotta have it to survive.
Yes.
Laura Impero-Fraumbach with the nutrition tip of the week. Laura, thank you again for participating in the
I'm
Body Shop.
thirsty now.
You're thirsty?
Yeah.
Yeah, drink some water. Back to Jason and myself. We'll see you over there. Good job.
Thank you very much, Jeffrey and Laura. That was an excellent interview.
Thank you.
Yep. And if you'll please all follow us, we're going to jump in our car and drive out to GNC and
Here we
give
go.
you the interview with Gwen.
Gwen.
Hello and welcome back to the Body Shop. I'm Jason.
And I'm Jeffrey.
And we're here at General Nutrition Centers out at Bellis Fair Mall. And we have with us today Gwen. Hello, Gwen.
Hello.
And today we're out here to talk a little bit about some of the products that you can take that will promote both mass building and nutrition in general. And Gwen here is our resident expert of the day.
That's right.
And she's going to talk to us about some products, although we're not going to be using any product names today. So, Jeffrey?
Well, first we'd like to know something about the weight gainer fuels.
Okay.
And what do they do for the body, and which ones are best or not best, but what do you recommend?
Well, a lot of people have the idea that the more calories they take, the bigger they're going to get. And if they take an awful lot of calories, they're going to get big tomorrow. That's really erroneous, actually. Too much just plain calories, which is generally in the form of carbohydrates, actually really raises an insulin level when it's taken into the body, which causes your body to store excess calories as fat. And even a bodybuilder generally is going to have some excess calories when they take some of these 3,000 calorie a shot weight gainers. And so those are generally going to put on some weight, which probably isn't the weight you're going to be wanting. So I would more stick with maybe a lower carbohydrate, very low fat, and a higher protein type of weight gainer. Don't look for the ones with the biggest calories and the biggest names on the label. I would look more for the higher quality ones, which are more with maybe a whey-based protein in it, which is the highest quality protein you can get. And maybe some good complex carbohydrates, but not too much to overload your system, which will cause you to put on more fat than actual muscle. And it all takes a lot of time too.
So basically, to restate it to make sure that I've got it, since it's new information to me sometimes too, you know, when we're talking about stuff like this on the show.
Right.
Essentially, a lot of the products that are on the market that market themselves as weight-gaining fuels, essentially what they have are this host of ingredients that may actually help you to develop body fat.
That's right.
Because there are so many carbohydrates that your body can't take it all in and burn it all off at the same time. So what you're suggesting is that you use this as just a supplement, and that you find one that has whey protein in it, and probably if you have one with that, the other ingredients as well will be a little bit better for you.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And most of the professional bodybuilders don't tend to use, 3,000 calories for a 3-cup serving size, which will more than fill your blender. They tend to go more with smaller dosages of protein supplements, maybe some carbohydrates in their mixes, but not primarily these really hyped up for the more, amateur bodybuilder targeted weight gainers.
Right.
So, and you do sell a lot of it. A lot of people still buy it, but they seem to be a lot better off when they start taking less calories.
So basically, you want to stick with a main diet of meat or fish or for your protein intake.
And you can supplement that with, I would prefer a whey-based protein. It really is better absorbed by your body and works better.
However, for those vegetarians out there who are still interested in bodybuilding, there are plenty of healthy alternatives to taking in too much meat.
Right. Whey is great. Whey is a milk-based protein. Whey is from milk. And there is also soy if you're vegan, although there's not too many vegan bodybuilders out there. But either way, I know some vegetarian bodybuilders that do use the whey-based protein and are very happy with it.
For instance, you can do things like make up some pretty healthful shakes.
You can mix it with orange juice and make like an orange Julius.
Yeah.
And
put some bananas
chocolate
in there, kiwi.
there.
Sure. What about spirulina?
Spirulina is really good energy source, and you can put a couple scoops of that in with your shake. It'll give you a lot more energy. It does have some cleansing effects, so don't take too much at once.
Yeah,
You'll be running for the bathroom.
Jason, right.
Right. Excuse me, I've got to go to the bathroom.
Now, spirulina, that is an herb?
It's an algae.
Algae.
It's actually, like the blue-green algae that you hear about a lot, And you can find that at pretty much any health food store in a powder form. Better to take it in the powder than the tablets. You have to take a lot of tablets to get this amount of powder.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Now, another product that is really flooding the market is chromium picolinate. Now, that is a mineral. And tell us what that does for the body.
Well, it's a trace mineral that is deficient in probably 95% of Americans right now. It's generally found in brewer's yeast, in whole grains, and beer, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, go sparingly on that last comment.
Right, because that will also put on the fat. But chromium controls your insulin level, and it works with your glucose tolerance factor, which are little jargon terms for basically saying if you don't have enough chromium, you tend to put on more fat.
Okay.
So chromium helps you build lean muscle mass and pare down the body fat by keeping your blood sugar levels stable, which also means it's going to really help with sugar cravings, and that's why I take it, because if I don't take it, I'm a chocoholic.
You go for the candy bar.
I do. And if I do take it, though, I really have no problem staying away from it, and I tend to eat an apple instead of Hershey's, which is better for me.
Nice.
So, but the chromium, everybody who works here takes chromium, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm a chromium taker myself.
Do we have an all-chocolate diet that we can suggest to people?
That's next week.
And next.
Yeah.
What do you know about the uses of vitamin E? I have been told, and I'm wondering if it's just sort of common mythology, that vitamin E can help to prevent muscle cramps. I've
heard that too.
Is there any truth to that? Or?
There is truth to that. It's a really powerful antioxidant, which is the main reason why people are taking it. It prevents your body against cellular damage right on the level of your cells. And when you're working out, you're putting an awful lot of, an awful load on your muscles.
Right.
And vitamin E helps repair. It helps really repair and helps recovery time. And it also helps, your skin, basically every connective tissue in the body. Muscle tissue is one of the connective tissues, so it does repair.
Are there some natural food sources that you can get vitamin E from best if you're not interested in taking them in capsule form?
You'd want to be taking wheat germ every day, which is comes in little flakes. You can buy it in the refrigerated section. Only get it refrigerated section of a health food store. You can sprinkle it on your cereal or your salads or whatever. But that's the best source of vitamin E.
Really?
Yeah, the highest concentrated one. To get vitamin E in a therapeutic or supplemental dosage, it's very difficult to get it from a food source.
Right.
But and you always want to get the natural form of vitamin E if you're going to take it as a supplement. Get the natural form, not the synthetic. The synthetic doesn't work very well, even though it is cheaper.
Very interesting information. Thank you, Gwen.
Yeah, very much so. And we're going to also be bringing you a segment, perhaps not weekly, but in most of our shows, we'll be talking with Gwen about this.
Off and on.
Other
Every
areas
now and
of
again?
expertise.
Okay.
Do you consider yourself an expert anywhere else in life?
I'm getting there. I'm working on it.
Yay.
By the time I'm 120, I figure I'll have it all down.
We'll be back here 100 years from now.
Yeah, and by the time we get that old, we'll have something to keep us that live us.
That's right.
Live that long.
Vitamin E.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you once again.
Yeah,
very
thank you
much
for joining us.
Thank you.
And again, this is the Body Shop, and I'm Jeffrey.
And I'm Jason.
And we'll go back to our show.
For joining us today
Thank
here
you.
at the Body Shop.
We had a wonderful time.
Jeffrey did.
Jason, I had to poke and prod the whole time.
Yeah.
We had a good time.
Yep. Now, it's something I was just thinking about a minute ago. Society sort of sets us up with a bunch of expectations. I mean, when we're referring to society, maybe we shouldn't do so vaguely. I mean, society is all of us. But you see models on TV, you see models on magazines, and in some ways it's all right to emulate them, to try and strive for whatever it is that they have achieved. But at the same time, part of what you need to be doing is just doing whatever makes you feel good. So if you can incorporate weightlifting or anything else that we talk about on the show into your lifestyle, then I hope that you do so. In part, we're here just to try and provide you with some tips for
better living.
Yeah, definitely. Weightlifting has definitely contributed to a good life for me. It's one small part of what I do with my day or my week, but nonetheless, I enjoy almost all the time that I spend here at the gym. I'm pretty positive that you do too, Jeff.
Yeah, I spend about an hour and a half to 2 hours in the gym 6 days a week.
And I mean, I enjoy my time here much more when Jeffrey's not here because, he's such a dud. Yeah, but nonetheless, if you can avoid Geoffrey and still weightlift, things will go pretty well for you.
Hey, it's just his own personal opinion.
I'm just good at complimenting, aren't I?
Thank you very much. Our next show is going to concentrate on a leg program geared towards women. And that'll be maybe some of the similar exercises what we did today, but mainly it's going to be geared towards women because they want to have a different look, a different shape than what men are geared towards.
And our intention is to bring at least a couple of women on to next week's show and let women speak for themselves. Yeah, if there are any left who will talk to us.
Yeah.
If not, the two of us will dress up in skirts and blouses and show you ourselves.
Don't be surprised if that happens.
And don't be surprised to see Geoffrey running around town in a skirt. There's a lot we haven't told you about him yet.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh girl.
Well, once again today we tried to provide you with some information and suggestions for 4 different exercises that you can perform to work out your quadriceps and your gluteus maximus.
And that is also what the exercises we perform today is similar to a program that I do quite frequently for my legs. So it's in that exact order in which you're performing them today. So it's a good program.
Yeah, it might be a good way to start.
Right. Again, our show airs on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. and Friday at 2 p.m. Maybe another time in there somewhere. You just might want to catch it some other time.
And we'd like to thank you once again very much for joining us today.
Oh, and also I want to say, it is very much appreciated when you come up to us and tell us how much you enjoy our show and what kind of benefits you derive from it. So it makes us feel good and it gives us inspiration as well. And please, anytime you see us, let us know.
Throw eggs at us. Throw eggs at him.
Money, tomatoes, whatever.
All right. Well, I hope that you all are having a good day or good evening, depending on whichever it is. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time.
And please, don't litter. Don't litter.
Well, now that might seem a little bit offhand, but we'll explain it to you as the weeks go by. Not that it's a bad suggestion.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.